Yo, DJ UFO, not in the studio, I'm in my living room. That's something different, isn't it? Welcome to the first of what will be a series of music production tutorial tips and hints and stuff like that, all from me, called Close Encounters, the UFO Close Encounters thing. I'm sure you get it. The first one, as you can probably tell by the title, is all about gain staging and the pink noise trick. Now, stay tuned for the pink noise trick because it's really, really useful. Helped me out immensely when I first discovered it. Gain staging, you don't want to start a mix down without doing gain staging. You just don't want to do it. So, watch the video, take notes, and if you've got any questions, leave down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't done already. If it's the first time here, I'm Jason, UFO, better known as DJ UFO in the UK hardcore community, but I've also produced music of all sorts of genres and descriptions over the years. 25 years I've been doing it, so I have got a little bit of experience. So check it out. Peace. Okay, if you remember from the live stream, we got the track to more or less how we'd like it arrangement wise, and we were going to move on to do the mix. Now the first part of doing this, this is how I do it in any case. The first part you do is, if you look at the mixer, like all the way through writing the track, I've been adding EQs and plugins, I've been doing levels and stuff like that. Now I can almost guarantee that all these levels and all these effects and everything aren't actually set right for a full finished mix down. These are just things that I did to make it sound sort of right while I was writing the track. Now there are some people that sort of mix as they go, as they write the track. I'm not one of them, because I've always found that by the time I've finished the arrangement, levels and stuff get tweaked around, especially you listen to it too loud, you listen to it too long, and your mix ends up sounding not very good. So what I found the best way to do this is to just do the arrangement, and then when you come to do the mix, completely get rid of everything that you've done. You know, reset the entire desk, and that's how we're going to do it. Now some people won't do that, they'll think I'm mad for doing that, but I guess it comes down to personal preference. For me, this just works more. So in Cubase, I'm assuming anyway that in other DAWs they have a similar function where you can reset the entire desk. We go up to this arrow and we choose Reset Mix Console Channels. We can either reset a selected track. That if you just wanted to reset one track, you can do that. But we want to reset all. So it takes a couple of seconds. There we go. Now, if you notice what it's done, it's set all my faders back to the Unity gain. It's got rid of all the inserts, all the plugins. It's returned all my pre-gains to 0. And it's also disconnected all the tracks that I had routed to groups. Don't worry about that. We're going to get to that in a bit, in a couple of videos time probably. But essentially, we've got no effects and all the levels are set to 0. Now, the first thing we need to do is gain stage each sound that's coming into the DAW. Now, I touched on this a little bit in the live stream video. I'm going to go into it a little bit more detail just to sort of show you why you should be doing this. Now, this is very, very important, actually, because what happens is when you load synthesizers, VSTs, audio, all of that sort of stuff to make your track, when you load it in, pretty much nearly always, they're always coming into your DAW too loud. They're always too hot. So you need to turn down the signal as it comes into your DAW, mainly to benefit you from things like you won't be overloading when it's going through plugins and stuff. A lot of plugins, like analog sort of emulation plugins, that stuff you get from Universal Audio and also Waves and people like that, they're all programmed to accept incoming signals at sort of minus 18 dB. The stuff that comes out of your soft synth when you load it up normally is shockingly much louder than that. And what you'll find is, if you've got 4 plugins in succession and it's coming into the plugin loud, then it comes out of the plugin loud, and then through the chain, by the time it comes out the other end, it could be almost destroyed. you know, with distortion or at least saturation, unwanted saturation. So the way around this is to gain stage. Very, very important. Not the sexiest subject in music production, I will agree. However, it's pretty essential. If you want a clean mix and you want to make it easier for you to mix, this is what you need to do. So now I'm going to turn down the main master bus, because obviously all these, when I push play, all of these are going to sound distorted and horrible, and I don't want to blast your ears out. You don't actually need to hear anything to do the gain staging. So what you do, let me choose a louder part of the track. Yeah, that will do in the intro. We'll cycle that bit. Obviously you can't hear it because obviously I've turned it down on the master bus. So we'll get the mixer back. Now what you see is all of these levels going all the way past the faders, and now the colours, these are set by me. There's a thing in preferences in Cubase where you can use your own colours for your VU meters. Now I've got these set to change from blue to yellow at -18 dB. That's the sort of level you want coming into your DAW, as I say, for the benefit of all your plugins and your sanity, because it just makes it all easier to mix, makes it all cleaner. It just sorts everything, a lot of problems out. Now how you do it in Cubase is you've got these pre-gains. Now if you can't see those, you can choose them up in the racks here. There's on-off buttons for different things you can see and don't want to see when you've got your mixer up. So you want the pre-gains, sorry, the pre-filter gain phase turned on, so you can see these gains. And it really is just simply a case of picking out each channel and turning down the gain until you see these at around -18. There's a couple of ways in Cubase to see this, where it's at. Like there's a number down here at the moment saying -12.5, so it's obviously a bit too loud. It's coming over into the yellow. When you click that once, it resets it. Okay, so now, for instance, now this one, we'll try -8. And it's automatically dropped the level. You see that? It's now coming in at -20, so it's actually a little bit quiet. So we could go up a dB or two. Let's try -9. Sorry, -7. Duh. And I think that should do it. Now, I say -18. It's really a guide. Plus or minus a dB or two is not going to be the end of the world. You just want it as close to -18 as possible. It just helps you out, trust me. Now, I know this is boring, and I know you want to get into how we do the effects and all the rest of it, but this video was essential to start because it's just the beginning of every mix. Gain staging. Now, obviously, you just go through all of your tracks and do the gains so that everything's all funky, and then you've basically nailed all the pre-gains, and then that is what is gain staging. That is the gain stage track. Now we're going to move on to the next stage, which is the pink noise trick. Okay, so now we've got all of our pre-gain set. The gain staging is done. Next stage is to use a trick that I use called the pink noise trick. Now what this is pink noise is, well, pink noise is very special. Let me get some pink noise all up and running. How we do it in Cubase is we add an empty audio track, just a normal audio track, empty. And then in the mixer, we add it like a plugin, really. There's Steinberg do their own version in Cubase. So if you go to Steinberg and then Tools, Test Generator. Now, annoyingly, it comes up with that sine wave straight away, so you can turn it off or turn it down, whatever. We want to use pink noise, which is here. You can choose between. We want pink noise. And we want to set it to -20 dB because that tallies a bit better with our -18 dB that we've already set with our gain staging. Let me turn that down a bit because it gets a bit annoying. Now, pink noise is interesting and it's very special. And here's why. Let me load up a EQ just to show you the scope. Okay, right, so forget the EQ, we'll just get rid of those. We don't need that. Now, if you look at the meters, it's a very, very consistent, steady signal. There's not really anything jumping out in the bottom end or in the top end. It's very, very consistent. And that helps you with getting the levels right on the faders of how loud things should be. So rather than, if you didn't use this method, you would say start with the kick drum and nothing else, and you'd turn it up and you'd say, yeah, I think that's loud enough, and then you would do your mix based off of that. Of course, that's just guesswork. You don't know that it's loud enough, and you're just sort of starting from a sort of a shot in the dark point of view. This lets you have a rough mix that's very sort of consistent and very sort of balanced across all of your instruments, and it's all basically done with this pink noise trick. Now, the way you do it is you have the pink noise playing. Let me mute that a second, because we want to turn all our faders down. Now, there's a quick way to do this in Cubase. Oh, by the way, don't worry if you're not using Cubase and you haven't got anything to generate pink noise. In the description down below, I'll leave a link. It will be a sample of pink noise. It's the same thing. Just import it into your project and loop it across whichever part it is you're going to use to do your levels. That'll be down in the description. Okay, right. So in Cubase, what we do is if we select the first channel that we want to turn down, and then select all of the others by holding down Shift and then clicking the last one, it selects all those channels. Then what we do is we push Alt and Shift together, and then we get this quick link, which links temporarily while you've got the buttons pressed, Alt and Shift, temporarily links these faders so they all move together, so you can turn them all down in one go. That's the reason I use that. Very, very handy tip. Okay, so we want to have the pink noise playing, and the track we'll play the track in a sort of loud part of it, which will be like this chorus where the vocal comes in and all the drums and all the riff and everything's in. So we'll loop that, we'll play that and loop it whilst the pink noise is going. Now what we do is as simple as turning up the fader till you can just about hear whatever it is you're turning up. So in this case it's a kick drum. So in relation to the pink noise, so obviously that, I'll stop playing now, can you believe it? Hang on, did I not loop it? Let's loop that there and make it a bit better. Okay, so that's too loud. So I'm going to shut up for a second. Let's turn it up a bit. There you go. I can just about hear that kick drum under that pink noise. Maybe a bit less. That's about right. And then you move on to the next thing you want to do. We'll use the ride. Too loud. There you go. Mute it. Next thing. Now make sure when you do this that you do it, let's turn that down, let's turn it off a second. Make sure when you do this that you haven't got it blasting out of your speakers, because you just mess your ears up with that pink noise constantly going in your ears at a loud level. You don't want that. You can do this at a low level. You just need to hear it enough so you can get the rough balance right. And what you'll be left with, if you go across the whole of your mix, the whole of your desk, all your sounds, all your audio, using that method with the pink noise, when you turn the pink noise off, what you end up with is a rough mix. It won't be perfect, but there'll be a rough, balanced mix. Everything will sort of be in proportion to each other. And that's the fastest way to get into the beginnings of the mix down. So that's it. So make sure you do your gain staging, then make sure you do the pink noise trick. Once you've done that, we'll move on to EQ, which is obviously another important aspect. So we'll be doing that in the next video. That'll be up in a week or so. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video. If you've got any questions about anything, put them down in the comments. Don't forget, down in the description is a link to all of my social medias. And also I'll put a link to that pink noise sample, so anyone can just download that and put it in their project and use this method. Other than that, I will catch you all on the next video. So peace.